This week's Parashat, Tetze. The Torah tells us that there are certain nations that aren't allowed to join us. We really have an open door policy. We allow in Gerim, other nations that want to join. We allow them to join. But there are two nations. There are two nations that we don't allow them to join. The nations of Ammon and Moab. And even though the truth of the matter is that we have a tremendous kesher, bond with these two nations. Why? Way back, their grandfather, whose name was Lot, was Avraham Avinu's Talmid, pupil. And Avraham Avinu was under an impression that maybe he will inherit him. That who's going to lead the world after Avraham Avinu leaves the world? Lot. And therefore, Avraham Avinu was willing to invest in Lot. You're willing to invest when you see a good piece, right? You're willing to invest. Even it might cost you heavy money. But if you see there's a future, you're willing to invest. Avraham Avinu invested in Lot. How? When Lot was in trouble, and Lot and his wife were captured, Avraham Avinu went into the danger of war with four major countries to get Lot out. And he was successful. He invested in him. And then later when Sodom was supposed to be destroyed, and Lot was living in Sodom, and he did that in spite of Avraham Avinu. Avraham Avinu didn't say, he spited me, I'm not going to help him. Avraham Avinu went and davened for him. And he was saved. And yet his great-grandchildren, 6 generations later, when Bnei Yisrael was traveling in the Midbar, they did not come out with lechem u'mayim, with bread and water. And since they didn't come out with bread and water, we don't want them into our country, into our nation. And not only that, but don't look to do them any good. In other words, if let's say they have an earthquake, and you want to send zakah to them, Ammon Moab, you can't send it. Let's say they're in need of blood, and you have people that want to donate blood, you can't
help them?
Can't help them.
How do we know who they are today?
Oh, the reason why there's no restriction is because you don't know who they are today.
Oh, so it's okay.
But if we would know who they are, even if you would hear that there's an earthquake, and you have a specialist to know, be able to search in the rubble to find them, whoever's buried, you wouldn't be allowed to send to bury them. Because why? Because they didn't come out with bread and water. So let's understand what's going on.
Yeah, what does that even mean?
What's going on? It's not a question of the next generation. It's 6 generations later. 6 generations. And still in all. But since 6 generations before, there was a great man, and his name was Avraham Avinu, and he did your great-great-great-great-great-grandfather a favor, then you should have gone out of your way to help them out. So you see what a kalat hatov is machayev. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So let me share with you a story from Rav Shach. Unbelievable story. To show how far it goes. This was already, Rav Shach was in his elderly age, and it was a day when he had a heavy schedule. He was supposed to speak to machanchim, meaning young principals, and also was supposed to let people come in with their problems, but he became so weak that day. He says, "I can't do anything. I can't. I'm no koach." So he canceled speaking for these principals, which he loved to do because he gave them what they needed to know. He canceled taking people up. But one thing he went to do, he traveled to Chovot to be menachem, to make a nichum avelim on a lady that passed away. Her name was Rabbi Cook. And he went to be menachem the family. And he had to climb steps. So they asked him, how come this he did? Is this thing he's doing? He's so weak. He answered. Listen to what he answered. He was very close to the Brisker Rav Shach. And many hours he used to go to the Brisker Rav and discuss with him all his questions of learning. And the Brisker was always available for him. Now the Brisker Rav had one child that wasn't well. And this not well child really was a heavy burden on the Brisker Rav and couldn't really let him many times to even function. He was so busy with this child. Came along this lady, passed away, and she said to the Brisker Rav, I'll take this child into my house. Because the Brisker Rav was without a wife. When he left Europe, he didn't think that she'd get killed, and she got killed. So he had to raise the children without a mother. And this child was very heavy burden on him. Comes on this lady and says to the Brisker Rav, I will take this child into my house.
Wow.
And I'll raise him. And it wasn't an easy child. And because she raised this child, the Brisker Rav had more time for Rav Shach. So Rav Shach said, I owe this woman hakarat hatov. But you hear how what hakarat hatov is? Not that she did to him. No, because she did a favor to the Brisker Rav. And because the Brisker Rav therefore had more time, so maybe he could spend more time with the Brisker Rav, he owes hakarat hatov.
Wow. It's heavy. That's what heavy son.
You hear that? Next question, Rabbi. They didn't come with bread and water. Bnei Yisrael needed bread and water. They had the man.
Right, so what do they need?
But they don't need the bread and water. What are you going to give them bread and water? What kind of bread and water do they need? They don't need bread and water.
Was the man also a drink or just was it food?
No, there was a food, but there was be'er. There was two things. There was man and there was be'er. Man was from Moshe and be'er was from Miriam, so there was man and be'er. So why does he need the bread and water for? The answer is, listen to this. The answer is recognition. I don't need your bread and water. But I need recognition that you recognize what my grandfather did to your grandfather.
The thought that counts.
The thought that counts. That's the word. The thought that counts. Recognition. So let me tell you a story about Shach. Another story about Shach. Usually, when there was he was very busy with Chinuch Atzma'i. That's the major educational system in Eretz Yisrael, which the government recognizes and supports, which belongs to the religious people. And he was busy with it. And whenever there was a meeting, he would go. Who would drive him? He used to go with the one that was the on-hand person, the CO as they call it today in America, on-hand. One time a meeting, the CO happened to be in Chutz La'aretz, was in America. So the question was, who's going to drive him? So he said he's not going to go. Well, you know what? He'll go by bus. That means taking the 54 bus. That's what how I used to go to Yerushalayim. My days learning in Parashat. You took the 54 bus to the Tachanat HaMerkazit in Tel Aviv. That took 20 minutes. Then you got the 400, took 20 minutes. Then you got the 400 in Tachanat HaMerkazit, which would take an hour and a half to get to Yerushalayim. And then you got off at
Where,
the
from
top.
the airport?
No, Tachanat Merkazit means this.
I know. From where? Where are you starting?
I started from Bnei Brak.
Oh, from Bnei Brak.
I'm starting from Bnei Brak. I took the 54 to Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv, I took the 400. I came to Tachanat Merkazit in Yerushalayim. And over there, I had to pick up the bus from the Tachanat Merkazit.
Now they have a light rail.
Yeah, now it's straight.
Huh.
Now it's straight.
That's crazy.
Now it's great. So came along someone and said to him, Rabbi, I'll take you. I'm going anyway in Yerushalayim, and I'll take you by car. Rabbi said, I'm going to go by bus. So they asked him later, why? Why? He said, I'll tell you why. Because if I go with him in the car, I'm a chulah ka'at hatov. What does that mean? I have to listen to him. He has things to discuss. And I have to listen to everything he has to discuss. When I go by bus, I don't owe anyone anything. So I can learn on the 54. I can learn on the 400. And I can learn on the bus from the Tachanat Merkazit to where I have to go. But like this, I can't learn. I'm not allowed to learn. I have to be busy with him. I have to be busy. But he's a ka'at hatov. We tell the same type of story. The Alta from Kelm and his friend was traveling. And it got late, it got dark. So where are they going to go? So they saw there's a farm. So they knocked on that door, and they saw there was a mezuzah, knocked on the door. And they said, is it possible to take us in for the night? With pleasure, rabbis, come in. So they gave them right away to eat. And after eating, the friend of the Alta from Kelm sat down to learn. And the Alta from Kelm sat down and started to talk with the farmer about the farm. How many animals does he have? How is the milking? How is the king? And so after he finished speaking to him 3 hours, so his friend says to him, Bittul Torah, what'd you do? He said, what do you mean Bittul Torah? You let us in to sleep here. I have to shaklat hatov. How do I shaklat hatov? By talking to him. Even though I don't know much about farmers, but I have an ear, and he talks to me, and he enjoys talking and tell me about this cow and this sheep and this field and this thing. So the taina is not the lechem l'mayim. The taina is one last thing. Let me ask you another question. Hakarat hatov. They were afraid of Bnei Yisrael. They were under the impression that the Bnei Yisrael were warriors that are going to take over all the countries. You see, they destroyed Mitzrayim. Egypt was the most powerful country in the world then, and it got destroyed. They met up with Amalek. Amalek got zuklapt. So they were under the impression that this nation is warriors, and they're going to go ahead. Let me give a mashal, a dimyon, which is just for the dimyon alone. For instance, ISIS. The world thought that Bnei Yisrael are ISIS. That's what they thought. That we are ISIS. We're taking over. So what's the Tana on them? That's why they didn't. And you see later, HaKadosh Baruch has to warn Bnei Yisrael, don't dare go in and try to take over their country. So what's the Tana? The Tana is that how come you don't know history? Why don't you know about their great-grandfather Rabbi, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Yosef? Look who they're coming from. They're ISIS. Look who they are. So if you got a crazy nerve, but you could have looked into history and seen who they really are, is a Tana. I thought the guy was a Russia. I thought he was this and that. 1 second, you thought. Okay.
Don't be so quick to judge.
Exactly. Know where they're coming from, where Bnei Yisrael is. That's the trouble with the whole world. If they would know us, and they would see what we're doing, how much chesed we've done. Mark Twain wrote a poem. And in that poem, he brings all the benefits that the Jews have given to the world. And he's not speaking about Torah. He's speaking about in science, in medicine, all the different things that Jews have given. You know, the Rambam in his time was the biggest doctor. The Rambam were the biggest doctors. What does that mean they were the biggest doctors? They were available for the whole world to come and
They revolutionized medicine.
Mamish. That's the Tana. You king, I thought they were the students. You thought. Read, look about them, look back, take a study. When you do a shidduch, you make a study. You go find out, and you every little thing. Take a study. Quick, no. The ISIS Chachmanos are out to take over our country. We're not going to give them. So, the main lesson is, who do we have to have a kata tov most to? Everything we have is from him. We don't have nothing without him. It's all him. That's the first thing I called a tov to Bori Olam. Everybody Shalom, I love you. Thank you, Bori Olam. Thank you.